It's Wednesday, the 30th of September, and this is volume 2 of Pandora Chat. I'm Tara, and today we're going to be talking about Redessa, who is one of the main characters of Pandora. And she was originally created because the characters between us were created individually, and then we sort of talked around them and put them into their situations. And Redessa was created by Nadia Williams, who we'll be talking about today. So what can you tell us about Redessa?
She's a 19-year-old FBI agent, or spy, however you want to look at it. Basically, she's thrown into a world that she doesn't really understand, or because she's more of the I can fight humans, and then she's suddenly reassigned to this organization that deals with supernatural beings, and she's just like, no, supernatural doesn't exist. It's just folklore and mythology type of things, right? Which is and then she kind of slowly accepts it. Well, slowly she kind of accepts it after the first case, and she kind of sees it in front of her eyes, kind of thing.
She's more the kind of character that most people would be seeing that through her eyes. That's that's a person who's in a I can't exactly say normal because not everybody is a spy, but the kind of person who is who's dealt with humans. She's never dealt with the supernatural, much like most of society. So she would be like our look into it, and how a person who say would have training to deal with people would then have to deal with stuff that she's got no training in whatsoever.
Pretty much. It's kind of Violet's kind of
Violet?
Sorry. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up with my characters here. No, Redessa's kind of she kind of needs to be mentored slightly, which is kind of what the first case is about,
Mentored by Violet.
Mentored by Violet. Into kind of dealing with the supernatural, and God, I can't fucking think. No, she's kind of mentored and kind of eased into it, and it's the reason for the first case, more or less.
It's the reason why she was given a partner who actually has supernatural experience. Yeah.
Her kind of tools of the trade are basically her pistols that she's been using throughout. You first see the shot of her fighting, fighting humans. She's got two pistols, one marked Zeus, one marked Hades. One's more of an actual gun, while another's actually a tranquilizer.
Did you have what were their gun designs based on then?
It's just normal pistols. I just thought they looked pretty cool, and kind of my influence for that was kind of like James Bond type of things, like always using a gun, being kind of suave while doing it. Even when he's shooting you, you've kind of got the cool little charm, and then bang, you're out.
So what was your influence for creating Redessa?
Mainly, when I was younger, there wasn't very many black characters at all in certain shows that I could relate to. Not just black characters, more of non-white / Asian, depending on what I was watching. And it's kind of international characters, and also any characters with any disabilities. So some of that I just went completely over my head, and then some of them was just there's absolutely nothing that I can relate to here, and the only thing that I could probably relate to was music stars, and even at that, they weren't always given the best representation. And if they were kind of there's a black character in this, mainly let's say a horror thing. He's gonna die in the next 5 minutes. Let's stop the clock, or it's the really bad stereotype. You could either have the really mammy characters, or you could have like, black girls are just really, really ratchet, black boys just, drugs and everything. And then I saw people in my family, I'm like, none of you are like this. Why is TV portraying us like this? So it's kind of like another view on that. And plus, like, talking to people, it's quite, fun seeing a diverse range of people. And I was thinking maybe to do that instead of just having, I could have just easily made her this race or that race or whatever.
So I remember when we were actually creating the characters, because it was kind of funny, wasn't it, when we were first creating the characters, we'd all gone to a convention it wasn't the type of convention we thought it was, so it was like a little bit out of place.
Like a TV and movie, and I think we were like expecting old comic books and stuff like that. And
yeah,
I think we just had to say, okay, if anyone asks, we're from a comic that's not out yet, right?
And then we started making up the story from there, and because you were dressed in like a spy type outfit, so that's where Odessa originally came from, and then we explored from that point. Personality wise, what would you say about it? Because I've always sort of seen it as that in the particular partnership between her and Mizuki, who we'll be exploring at another time, she's always seemed to me as being like the more emotional driven one, like say she was like the fire to Mizuki's ice. What would you say like about her personality wise?
Long story short, she's a sassy soul sister. No, she's been kind of raised really, really harsh, so she's got the sass, basically cross me and watch what happens, but she's got this state which it's rare. You kind of have to push her to the edge, but she'll kind of like retreat within her own mind, and she would be like yes, no kind of thing, like deal with an order but there's no emotion behind it, or do something but there's no emotion behind it, because sometimes like if she feels that there's something, how do I describe it?
It's like to protect her own mind from being in particular situations, because I imagine somebody who is say a spy or an assassin or any kind of job in that way, you're going to see a load of things or have to do things that like morally you will be completely against, which could mess with your mind and things like that. So I suppose that particular state will be trying to protect
her insanity, in a way. I can't say too much without spoiling anything about her, but it's mainly that would happen in the extreme, but most of the time she's more of a happy-go-lucky. She's a little bit of a fashionista. I could just picture her dragging Mizuki around the shop saying, try this kind of thing, and she's also kind of got a family complex, but yet trying to build a family within the relationship she has, considering the fact that she doesn't particularly have one, which that's not exactly a spoiler, it's just a fact. It's happened, it's revealed in the first story quite early on, actually.
So rather than having like a blood family, she sort of creates families out of the various relationships she has.
Yeah, like the really, really close ones.
Yeah.
Like I think she like views Violet as either an aunt or a mother kind of figure. And it's the reason why if Violet says something, she'll be like, ugh, but then she goes and does it in the end.
It's like, fine, I'll go and do it. I'll clean my room. Well, maybe not clean my room, but yeah.
Like, there's something that happens like quite early, and I think it's in the first 10 pages or so. It's like, you've got to do this. I don't want to. And then there's another character that goes, sucks to be you, kid, and she just goes, fine, I need a holiday anyway.
Yeah. What kind of hopes do you have for Rodessa, other than being a well, maybe not a role model, but at least like a character that isn't the stereotypical white person, or like the kind of a black character who's just being the butt of the joke, so somebody is going to be killed off in 10 seconds.
It's more of a, I've never really drawn or written a character that you can relate to. That, if anything, I want to portray just as a pretty big kid that hasn't grown up, but is trying to deal with certain things. I want it to be relatable in the sense that kind of kids that are kind of in a single parent household, so like Violet would come in as the mum, but kind of struggling with this kid, and she's trying to struggle with certain relationships and deal with them.
It's basically how she's sort of, despite being in this situation she's never been before, like how she sort of grows and changes into the role. So she starts as being like a bit of a bratty kid or whatever, who's only got like the single parent, so to speak, but as she gains more people in her little family and she deals with different situations, she starts to grow as a person as well.
Yes, so it's kind of like you see her mature and, throughout the story progressing, and even though she does kind of revert to her kiddish or childish ways, she's still, kind of balancing being an adult and dealing with, supernatural. It's kind of, I think in my head I've subconsciously projected Inuyasha kind of thing. It's like, because he's got his mature moments most of the time. He's the, hey, why are you leaving me out? You said something that really hurt me. Like, come on, apologize. It's like, it's not that it's getting to me, but it's like, honestly, it's actually getting to them kind of thing.
So I suppose, like, how there's always certain tropes or whatever that tend to be picked. I suppose you could say that she's falls into like the tsundere kind of thing. So the ones that it's
on purpose, but unfortunately she did.
Well, as I said, it's just no problem with slightly fall against that, because sometimes it is kind of funny. As I say, you do find people like that. That's just how some people are. But yeah, so which is why I sometimes link her to, if I was picking in an element or something, she will probably be a fire or something like that. She is the, I suppose in a way she'd be like the heart of it, because you would say how you describe her, she's quite open with her emotions, apart from during the serious situations or something like that. When she's in a comfortable state, she seems to be quite open with how she feels and things like that. Plus she's like quite passionate, she's flirty, she's fun.
Like her actual physical appearance wise, I was kind of looking at again, if you've ever seen the movie Spy, I think it came out in it came out this year?
It was earlier on this year, I believe.
Yeah, it came out early this year, but what I loved about it was, even though I designed it beforehand, but it pretty much did what I wanted to do. It's not your ridiculously skinny James Bond type of girls. She's more naturally naturally curvy kind of girls.
Yeah.
And she's got a thing like, well, if I've got them, I'll flaunt them, but it's not to get attention. It's more of, come here, like, lean over ever so slightly, saying, I need information, come here, give me the information I need, then fuck you and good night kind of thing. And it's more of that.
Well, it seems to fit with a spy role, because I mean, with the men, obviously you don't tend to have curvy men as much, but it has been seen in the male side of things where they will flirt, they will do whatever and gain information out of people. Is the word smoothing or something? Whereas, as I said, with a female spy, obviously getting men's attention probably be a little bit easier, but
I also kind of try to do because her physically she does kind of look either very, very light black or mixed race. I try to keep with the black ideal of beauty, which is basically her foster parent. Again, which is no big spoiler. Shatner says I'm an orphan kind of thing. Her foster parents her dad's black and give us the ideal, like, a mentality of how a black kid should be raised, which is quite fun to play with later on. But she's kind of like got the black ideas of how she should act, how she should look a certain way. It's kind of like you've got always look presentable, and here's the this is the standard of beauty in our community kind of thing. And another thing I wanted to explore with her and see if we can do that in, like, with the other characters is dive into different cultures. Because again, it's just I don't see that being played too much with comics and stuff in general. Like, so I know how let's say if how an African would react to a certain situation versus how a white person or an Asian person would react to a certain situation. Like one thing is PDOA. It's a no-no in the community. You can hold hands, but people are going to be judging you, kind of thing. It's more of a keep to yourself until you get home. When you get home, that's when you can do all that kind of stuff.
Which is why when another particular character comes in who's a bit more open with this kind of thing is why, even though as a spy she might flirt around, but as soon as somebody's like flirting back at her, that's when she's a bit sort of like, what are you doing? No. Stay away.
Yeah, pretty much.
How would you say that she feels about some of the other characters? Because you were saying that with Violet, she sort of sees her as almost like a mother figure or an aunt figure. But how would you say she feels towards her partner, who we'll be talking more about her herself next time. But how would you say that she actually feels about her?
In the beginning, we kind of did this thing where it's kind of a back and forth, like immediate hate, kind of, oh, you're this, oh, you're this, okay, let's, it's kind of like a verbal, like, war / annoyance kind of thing. But then after a while, especially within the first case, it's more of we've got to rely on each other. But later on, it's more of you're actually kind of cute when you're not being the ice queen. So, I can actually kind of get to know you a little bit. You're kind of sweet. So, yeah, like, going back to the whole creating families out of non-blood ties, it's more of, oh, you can be my little sister kind of thing.
It certainly goes well with how they do tend to bicker from the sounds of it. Cause as I said, while it's more vicious, at least in the beginning, because none of them have either worked with anybody before, they don't feel as though they need to work with anybody. So I suppose that's another reason why they didn't get on with each other at first. But like later on, I imagine it's because they do tend to bicker anyway, just because of personalities being as they are. That eventually it is kind of like how sisters act. Sisters tend to bicker.
I can actually see the partner being more of the little sister who's actually a lot smarter, like, well, just in certain areas, and then you've got the older sibling who's just saying, come out of your shell, love me, play with me, let's go, kind of thing. Like, I really can see that with them, but yeah, and I can see with the other flirtatious character, with him, it's more of I look up to you when you're serious. When you're not and you're just messing around, kill with fire, kill. But she would probably respond to that with,
while they tried to set him on fire. Yeah. Or firing at him.
And it's just more like, again, with the quick temperness, I think it would just be like more of a comedy routine with them. Similar thing with like all of them. It's just one big family kind of thing,
So a big family and dealing with various supernatural things.
Pretty much. I think that's the way she'd probably see it as well. Like you get mad, you get upset, but then you also come back together and move on like a normal family would. Because I think there is like an element of love with all of them, just different forms of love with all of them.
Well, I suppose even in cases of supernatural, you still have to have certain things that people will see. Because even if there is the supernatural thing, it is based in a world where there are normal people who have normal lives, and you can't just always be like dealing with supernatural spirits, because obviously there's got to be something you've got to fight for as well. Otherwise, there's no point.
Like, I know she's got no one can upset my family, or no one can hurt my family except me, and even if when I hurt them I feel ridiculously bad, whether that be physically or emotionally, I don't want anything to happen to these precious people that I got, because I think she's been on her own for that long that she just really depends on them. I think more than she even knows, like,
so
needs them more
now
than she knows.
Now I have it, or something else, like it's like if you don't know about it, then you can't miss it. But once you know about it, then you can. And she would miss it a lot if it was taken away.
I think she's also kind of afraid as well. She won't ever show like. Let's say like if she knew like something was about to happen to her, she'd probably trying to cushion the blow for them or try to play it off. But she tried to kind of bury it as well, saying like, "Oh no, nothing's wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong."
I can imagine in the reverse if one of the ones that she's come to like see as precious is if something is about to happen to them or has happened to them. I can see her that she would do everything that she can to sort of reverse that.
Pretty much.
Is there anything else you'd like to add about Redessa at all?
Well, spoiling too much. I think we'll probably have to leave it there.
So there is a lot more to her, but that would be a bit too much information for what we have so far. Well, that's all we have to say about Redessa, but next time we'll be talking about her partner in crime, I suppose you could say, Mizuki. And then from there we'll also be talking about the other two main characters that we'll be following on this journey through Pandora. So for now, that is Tara Washington, aka Trish Kurenai,
and Annie Williams, aka the Eternal Black Rose.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.